Hello and welcome to what your firm needs to know going into 2025. And special this time, this is in 15 minutes or less because we know this is one of your last webinars of the year. You are getting into busy season and we want to be mindful of that time. So, with that, Darren, I'll kick it off to you to say hi to everyone.
Perfect. Thanks, Molly. 15 minutes and less would be a record for me. So here we go. Um, Growth strategist for Rightworks. I've been a practicing CPA for nearly 40 years. So I have a lot of experience running an accounting firm. I write a lot, books, articles, a lot of thought leadership. So that's where I'm coming from today, Molly.
Love it. Happy to be here with you. And I'm the director of product marketing here at Rightworks. A lot of time working with clients, firms like yours, to define what their ideal path to the cloud looks like. So, looking forward to telling our firms how they can get ready for 2025 easily and with some tactical steps. So, here we go. Let's dive right in.
Perfect.
All right, Darren. So to kick us off, one of the first things that you and I discussed when we were talking about let's break down what firms have to do for 25 was getting into the cloud. When we say getting into the cloud, just to be really clear, we don't mean one-off applications. We mean moving your firm's workflows into one single place where you can access them. So Darren, tell us about how firms can create efficiencies in 25 when they move to the cloud.
Yeah, I think, Molly, what probably the number one question that I get asked from firms that are trying to figure out what to do, what's the next thing they should be doing? They're thinking about, should I change practice management solutions? Should I move to the cloud? And we can kind of talk about what that means. Should I? Most people are not asking, should I be changing tax softwares or anything like that? And so, as I think through what firms should be doing, first and foremost is getting all of their stuff, right? So, all these disparate solutions, all these different files that are everywhere, and get them moved into a central location that's accessible from anywhere by anybody on their team. And that's what we mean by moving to the cloud. We don't mean moving just, to QuickBooks Online or putting a client on QuickBooks Online, although those things are important. We mean moving your entire firm, all your data into a centralized location that's accessible anytime, anywhere by your team.
Yeah, and that what you just outlined there, that is how you create efficiencies because right now you're working across multiple clouds and desktop and various workflows and you probably aren't clear on what your staffers workflows are looking
Right.
like either. So,
You can't even, Molly, get moving on creating those efficiencies until you get everything in one place. Once you get everything in one place, then you can start hammering out the efficiencies that you gain by a centralized location, and those will come quickly. But the first step is picking a platform and moving everything into that platform in the cloud.
and we'll circle back to this at the end when we talk about your staff, but I mean, I think it also improves your culture when you create those efficiencies, so some nice links there.
Yep.
On top of efficiency, Darren, the other thing that you and I discussed was tackling security and this idea that when you come to one central location, you're also locking down the potential attack vectors you have. So, what should our firms be thinking about when it comes to moving the cloud for security reasons
Well,
for 25?
I think that so many firms still have things on their own server inside their offices. They are not really sort of locking down what their staff are downloading on their own machines, stuff like that. And so all those present, some level of security risks for the firm. The idea that once you move into a secure cloud location, you can curate the tech stack that you want all your team to be working on, and those applications are not running on their machines per se, that enhances security right off the bat.
Yeah, it's such a good point. And it's funny you bring up managing your own server because I think in the past, people had questions about the security of cloud. And I think that that is now flipped. So as you head into
For sure.
25, realize the cloud, especially managed cloud, is where you're going to be safer than managing a server in the office where you're one disaster away, right?
When you have a set of professionals that manage tax and accounting applications 24/7, 365 days, having them monitoring your infrastructure I think is, in today's world, it has to happen.
Yeah, well said. And then last one for this topic, moving quickly. So, Darren, I think I'd ask as our firms head into 25, Can they move quickly if they decide to get all those workflows into the cloud?
Yeah, I think I think you need to be moving now, right? This is something that, you know, arguably will happen fairly quickly. I mean, once you make the decision, I'm going to move all of our stuff to a secure location in the cloud, then, pick that right vendor, and that right vendor is going to walk you through the steps in doing that. It's not like you're changing your tax software, you're not changing practice management, you're really not changing technology at all. You're just organizing all your stuff in one space.
Yeah, excellent. And being on the product team for one space here, I can say it's a couple of weeks before you can potentially be onboarded because we do have automation as well as white glove service applied to that process. So
Perfect.
love to hear you say that. All right, let's keep moving because we promised 15 minutes or less. So the other thing we agreed on, Darren, was that firms have to be creating an AI policy going into 25. So tell us how they can start to set those guidelines.
Well, I'd first say that, firms have a tendency to drift into whatever it is, drift into technology, they drift into their procedures. That means that they were not intentional about, selecting the right tools or selecting the right cloud platform, whatever the case might be. They drift into their client base, all those things. What we're saying is that AI is a thing and it's happening quickly, and so you're going to drift into using lots of different components of AI, especially as Apple rolls out Apple Intelligence here imminently, right? On everybody's iPhone, they're going to be using some level of AI. What we're saying is you need to start by creating a firm policy, an AI policy on how you want to use AI inside your firm, Molly.
Excellent points. And it sounds like you might have answered my number two as well here, which is that, how can we get ready for the fact that AI is going to continue to evolve when we map out these AI policies for 2025?
Yeah, I know that we have some resources at Rightworks to help firms think through what an AI policy looks like. You want to talk about that a second, Molly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have a standard template, but it's also you sitting down with our AI as well as our WISP team to make sure that the way you're applying AI actually matches the way your firm works. It could be as simple, Darren, as just saying, these are the allowed use cases. This is where you never use AI. And then you can build from there.
So I think it starts by somebody in your firm sort of owning your AI policy. I think that's where you need to start. This can all happen before the end of the year. Just get ahead of the AI components that are going to really inundate us. I believe in 2025, it's going to be coming from everywhere. So right now is a good time to get out in front of this, not drift into something, get out in front of it, get an AI policy, talk about it as a team, and get it implemented before 12/31.
Love that. And then finally, you just hinted at this, but selecting an internal champion, right? You need somebody guiding the implementation of that AI policy at the
Yep.
firm. Perfect. All right. So, our last must do going into 2025. Darren, I think I remember this one from going into 24, but maybe even more important now. How can firms deal with capacity issues as they face the next year?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges firms have right now, Molly, is capacity. So firms are getting ready to go into busy season, and capacity is always an issue. Staffing, when we say capacity, we're also talking about staffing, and it always comes up as one of the number one issues for firms. So what we're saying is, think about the capacity of your firm. There's lots of ways that you can increase capacity. One of the things you can do is get more efficient. I mean, immediately, you don't have to add more staff. You don't have to really necessarily change anything. You can get more efficient by getting all your stuff into the cloud. That as you become more efficient, you gain capacity. I think the second thing that you can do with gaining capacity is make sure you're using the right technologies that give you more capacity. I think about if your firm's doing payroll manually in some, not necessarily manually, but with not leveraging the best technologies to do payroll. Leverage technologies. Yes, you may pay more for this sort of concept of outsourcing to a technology to get things done, but that increases capacity overall for your firm. Whether that is scanning and organizing tax documents and populating, or using a better payroll solution, to get payroll done, or using QuickBooks Online more effectively. Those things create capacity just by, changing technology. After that, you want to start looking really at your clients, and you want to start curating an ideal client list. You need to understand first and foremost, Molly, who your ideal client is. And we may start with just with tax returns. Most people don't think of an ideal client from a tax return perspective. If you have bad tax clients, and how do you define a bad tax client? Maybe it's somebody who doesn't pay you on time. Maybe it's somebody who is just a chaotic mess and never gets you things organized. Or it's those clients who don't want to work in a digital organized sort of system that you've created. However you define not great 1040 clients, I guarantee one of the things you're doing is turning down 1040s on a regular basis because you have a capacity issue. Start by weeding out those clients that are not good fits, Molly, and start adding the ones that are good fits. That I think it's outside of getting technology, increasing capacity with technology. I think curating the right client list is the next step.
That's fantastic. And Darren, you managed to answer all three of these capacity issue questions. But it's funny, as you were talking, I was thinking, how can we quickly bring this all together for our firms if they do nothing else? When I think about capacity, AI, security, moving to the cloud, it all really comes down to making sure you have definition around what you want to do, because you can't measure what you don't have written down and defined. Because you've said it several times, and it's an amazing point. You got to put some guardrails up because you only have so much you can accomplish this year.
So what have we asked people to do so far, Molly? We've said you need to get moved to the cloud.
Yep.
All right. So start right now. Look at the main vendors. Rightworks is fantastic. They have solutions to do this. Check it out. Get a strategy for getting all of your stuff, all your technology, all your data into the cloud. Get an AI policy. That doesn't take a long time. Have a staff meeting, use some of our resources to help you think through what an AI policy looks like. Have a staff meeting, implement an AI policy. And then lastly, print off your client list. Maybe we just start right now with print off all your 1040s, and let's go down through and identify who are not great client fits for us this year. Maybe they're not profitable. Again, maybe they don't fit into the workflow that we want to implement inside of our firm. Let's cross some of those off and let's add new ones. So crossing them off creates capacity. Let's add new ones that are better fits, that are more efficient, more effective kind of clients. And we're going to end up making more and solve some of our capacity issues.
That is excellent. And I think, Darren, with that summary, we have come in just before 15 minutes. So if we can help
Perfect.
you get a little more tactical about the move to the cloud, or you have questions, here's our contact. Darren, great talking to you, even if it was quick this time.
Thanks, Molly. Good stuff.